Hello and welcome to Quiz Class. I'm your host, Ellen, and today we have 100 questions on nostalgia. Let's take a look at our Quiz Class awards. And here they are. Let us know how you rank in the comments at the end, along with the answer to the bonus question. Let's begin. Which glowing creative toy was first sold in 1967? Light Night, Light Bright, or Light Sight? Light Bright. Which loose-fitting blouse became a hippie and boho fashion trend in the 60s and 70s? The peasant blouse, puff sleeve blouse, or peplum blouse? The peasant blouse. What drug addiction is the central metaphor of the 1976 song by the Eagles, Hotel California? Heroin, cocaine, or ecstasy? Cocaine. What tagline was used to market Pringles chips in 1968? Neo Tetris potato chips, newfangled potato chips, or newly hand potato chips? Newfangled potato chips. Which event in 1973 caused the rise of small fuel-efficient cars in the US? The oil crisis, environmental concerns, or automobile tax? Oil crisis. Which 1942 movie was rushed into release to capitalize on US involvement in World War II? 12 O'Clock High, The Best Years of Our Lives, or Casablanca? Casablanca. Which scientific breakthrough discovered in 1953 identified the double helix structure of DNA? Wilson and Briggs, Watson and Crick's, or Warren and Trix? Watson and Crick's. Which novel, written in just 2 months in 1953, introduced James Bond? Casino Royale, Dr. No, or On Her Majesty's Secret Service? Casino Royale. Which 1965 Broadway musical featured the hit song The Impossible Dream? Dream of La Mancha, Man of La Mancha, or King of La Mancha? Man of La Mancha. Which personal medical device became available for home use in 1977? The CPAP machine, blood pressure test, or the home pregnancy test? The home pregnancy test. Which extreme weather event in 1980 killed over 10,000 people in the US? Heat wave, snowstorm, or flood? Heat wave. Which astronaut became the first African American to go to space in 1983? Guion Bluford, Mae C. Jemison, or Ronald McNair? Guion Bluford. Which U.S. First Lady in the 1940s was the first to hold press conferences? Eleanor Roosevelt, Lou Hoover, or Elizabeth Truman? Eleanor Roosevelt. Which 1973 PBS series is considered the first reality TV show? An American Community, An American Unity, or An American Family? An American Family. Complete the famous line from John F. Kennedy's inaugural 1961 address. Ask not what your country can do for you, do for us, or do for everyone. Do for you. Which 1947 industrial disaster in Texas killed nearly 600 people? The Texas State Disaster, Texas Industrial Disaster, or the Texas City Disaster? The Texas City Disaster. What 1930s design feature was included on the Empire State Building exterior? Airship mooring, airplane deck, or rocket launch? Airship mooring. Which 1976 Olympic Games nearly bankrupted its host city? Munich Olympics, Montreal Olympics, or the Moscow Olympics? The Montreal Olympics. Which home entertainment device gained popularity in the late 70s? Gramophones, VCR players, or film projectors? VCR players. Which medication introduced in 1963 became the most prescribed drug of the decade? Librium, Valium, or Dexedrine? Valium. What type of engineer accidentally created the Slinky toy in 1943? Naval, aeronautical, or automotive? Naval. Which article of clothing became a rebellious fashion statement in the 1950s? Jeans, overalls, or pedal pushers? Jeans. Which rock musician had an FBI file over 300 pages long? Leonard Cohen, John Lennon, or Elvis Presley? John Lennon. Which flavored tortilla chips, first launched in 1966, became a snack sensation? Takis, Fritos, or Doritos? Doritos. Which 1982 sci-fi film revolutionized product placement? Back to the Future, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, or Close Encounters of the Third Kind? E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Which modern skyscraper was demolished in 1931 just before the Empire State Building was completed? The Life Medical Building, the Family Planning Building, or the Home Insurance Building? The Home Insurance Building. What was the 1984 comedy Ghostbusters originally going to be called? Ghost Hunters, Ghost Smashers, or Ghost Chasers? Ghost Smashers. What was George Orwell dying from while writing the novel 1984 in 1949? Typhus, lung cancer, or tuberculosis? Tuberculosis. Which classic American muscle car was introduced by Pontiac in the 1960s? ATO, DTO, or the GTO? GTO. We are at question 30. Which work trend allowing employees to work remotely began in the 80s? Teleconferencing, teledesking, or telecommuting? Telecommuting. Which 1989 earthquake disrupted the World Series and caused freeway collapses in San Francisco? San Fernando earthquake, South Napa earthquake, or the Loma Prieta earthquake? The Loma Prieta earthquake. How did television help John F. Kennedy's 1960 presidential campaign? People believed he looked smarter than Nixon, he looked kinder than Nixon, or he looked better than Nixon? People believed he looked better than Richard Nixon. Which historic event occurred in the U.S. Supreme Court in 1981? Sandra Day O'Connor became the first female justice, the second female justice, or the third female justice? She became the first female justice. Which children's TV host testified before Congress in 1969 to save public television funding? George Lucas, Lloyd Thaxton, or Fred Rogers? Fred Rogers. What did Franklin D. Roosevelt say in his 1933 speech during the Great Depression? The only thing we have to fear is fear alone, fear unleashed, or fear itself? Fear itself. What 1974 event produced 148 tornadoes across 13 states? The Supernado, Super Twisters, or Super Outbreak? The 1974 Super Outbreak. Which U.S. monument completed in 1965 is the tallest arch in the world? The Roosevelt Arch, Washington Square Arch, or the Gateway Arch? The Gateway Arch. Where was the 1974 heavyweight boxing match Rumble in the Jungle? In Tokyo, Japan, Istanbul, Turkey, or Zaire, Africa? In Zaire, Africa. Which transportation innovation was first introduced at the 1939 World's Fair? A moving walkway, a stair escalator, or the electric elevator? The moving walkway. Which artificial organ implanted in 1982 extended a patient's life by 112 days? The Jarvik 7 heart, Antique 7 heart, or Ravik 7 heart? The Jarvik 7 heart. Which 1939 toy was used by the U.S. military in World War II to train soldiers in aircraft identification? View Helper, View Finder, or View Master? View Master. Which basketball shoe, first created in 1917, became an iconic fashion statement in the 50s? Pro Keds Jumper, Converse Chuck Taylor All-Stars, or Brooks Eva? The Converse Chuck Taylor All-Stars. Which song did Dolly Parton not write on the same day in the 70s? Jolene, I Will Always Love You, or Working 9 to 5? Working 9 to 5. Which citrus-flavored soda was marketed as the Uncola in the 60s? Mirinda, Mountain Dew, or 7-Up? 7-Up. Which major tech company, founded in 1957, marked the beginning of Silicon Valley? The Fairway Semiconductor, the Fairchild Semiconductor, or the Fairley Semiconductor? The Fairchild Semiconductor. Which 1976 film launched Sylvester Stallone's career? Fist, Cannonball, or Rocky? Rocky. Which system, developed in the 1940s, was not widely used in retail until the 70s? The SKU system, Shopify system, or barcode system? The barcode system. How much did Stephen King receive for his first big paycheck for Carrie in 1974? $2,500, $25,000, or $250,000? $2,500. Which 1950s shoes had a slick where teenagers placed dimes for emergency phone calls? Saddle shoes, penny loafers, or court shoes? Penny loafers. We are at question 50. Which small office workspaces were introduced in the 60s as action offices? Corporate cubicles, corporate meeting rooms, or corporate waiting rooms? Corporate cubicles. Which U.S. national park experienced its largest wildfire in 1988? Acadia National Park, Yellowstone National Park, or Zion National Park? Yellowstone National Park. Whose 1974 Watergate speech made history as one of the first major political speeches by a woman in Congress? Mary Rose Walker, Barbara Jordan, or Yvonne Barthwaite Burke? Barbara Jordan. What wasn't used to create the 1976 Star Wars film's signature lightsaber sound effect? A wind machine, film projector, or TV set? A wind machine. Which 1980 Dallas television episode revealed the character Shooter and became the most watched episode in U.S. history? Who Killed JR? Who Got JR? Or Who Shot JR? Who Shot JR? Which 1986 speech by Ronald Reagan comforted the nation after a disaster? The Challenger disaster speech, Competitor disaster speech, or Conqueror disaster speech? The Challenger disaster speech. What largest event in history was caused by the 1980 Mount St. Helens volcanic eruption? flood, landslide, or wildfire? Landslide. Which Detroit skyscraper completed in 1977 was intended to revitalize a city but confused visitors with its design? The Revival Center, Reunion Center, or Renaissance Center? Renaissance Center. Which 1953 televised basketball game brought the NBA to a national audience for the first time? First televised NBA game, first replayed NBA game, or first scheduled NBA game? The first televised NBA game. Which 1970s World's Fair in Japan premiered the IMAX film? The Tokyo Expo, Kyoto Expo, or Osaka Expo? The Osaka Expo. Which medical imaging advancement introduced in the 1970s improved internal diagnostics? MRI, CT scanning, or the X-ray? CT scanning. Which 1970s toy featured a slogan ending with, "But they don't fall down"? Wobbles, Weebles, or Wiggles? Weebles. What type of beads were commonly worn by 1960s hippies? Friendship, love, or faith? Love. Which 1969 song was used by the BBC to cover the Apollo 11 moon landing? The Beatles' Across the Universe, David Bowie, Space Oddity, or the Byrds' Mr. Spaceman? David Bowie, Space Oddity. What was the 1985 film Back to the Future's time-traveling DeLorean originally planned to be? A refrigerator, a treehouse, or an elevator? A refrigerator. Which banking innovation introduced in 1960 revolutionized credit cards? IBM's portable teller machine, IBM's electronic account network, or IBM's magnetic stripe card? IBM's magnetic stripe card. Which 1979 horror musical became a Broadway masterpiece? The Little Shop of Horrors, Rocky Horror Picture Show, or Sweeney Todd? Sweeney Todd. What was the first handheld device to run on solar power in 1978? Watch, calculator, or Walkman? Calculator. Which children's book, written in 1960, used only 50 words due to a bet? The Magical Faraway Tree, Green Eggs and Ham, or Where the Wild Things Are? Green Eggs and Ham. Which 1985 talking toy used a built-in cassette player to tell stories? Chatty Hopkin, Teddy Ruxpin, or Friendly Pupkin? Teddy Ruxpin. We are in question 70. Which 1984 Olympics was the first fully funded by corporate sponsorships? The Moscow Olympics, Los Angeles Olympics, or the Seoul Olympics? The Los Angeles Olympics. Which 1950 storm turned into a blizzard and affected 22 states? Great Northwestern Storm, Great New England Storm, or the Great Appalachian Storm? The Great Appalachian Storm. Which mogul secretly worked as an FBI informant monitoring Hollywood in the 50s? Louis B. Mayer, Samuel Z. Arkoff, or Walt Disney? Walt Disney. What type of accessory pack was popular in the 80s? Cross-body pack, a fanny pack, or dry pack? A fanny pack. What soap opera began on radio in 1937 then became America's longest-running television drama? Guiding Light, The Bold and the Beautiful, or General Hospital? Guiding Light. How many pens were used to sign the 1964 U.S. Civil Rights Act? 35, 55, or 75? $75. Which 1972 flood in South Dakota resulted from 12 inches of rain falling in 6 hours? The Grand City Flood, Rapid City Flood, or Deep City Flood? The Rapid City Flood. Which 1973 skyscraper had the world's fastest elevators at the time of its opening? The Sears Tower, Petronas Towers, or World Trade Center Twin Towers? World Trade Center Twin Towers. Which 1973 baseball rule changed permanently, altered American League strategy? Designated runner rule, pitcher rule, or hitter rule? That's which 1973 baseball rule change permanently altered the American League strategy? The designated hitter rule. Which 1933 World's Fair exhibit predicted space travel 30 years before NASA was founded? Chicago World's Fair, Dallas World's Fair, or Pittsburgh World's Fair? Chicago World's Fair. We are at question 80. Which late 1970s medical device transformed diabetes management? The first commercial ECG machine, the first commercial blood tester, or the first commercial insulin pump? The first commercial insulin pump. Which 1964 toy allowed kids to battle two boxing robots? Pac-Man, Rock'em Sock'em Robots, or Dr. Robotnik? Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Which baggy fashion trend was banned in some U.S. cities in the 1940s due to riots? Safari suits, leisure suits, or zoot suits? Zoot suits. Which 1984 movie was the first to receive a PG-13 rating? Red Dawn, Iron Eagle, or Taps? Red Dawn. Which citrus-flavored drink, first marketed in the 1970s, became a popular alternative to orange juice? Juicy Delight, Sunny Delight, or Bright Delight? Sunny Delight. What frequently happened while shooting Jaws that made the 1975 film even scarier? Real sharks visited the ocean film site, the animatronic shark malfunctioned, or people struggled to swim and screamed. The animatronic shark malfunctioned. Which cosmic phenomena was first confirmed in 1971 after decades of being just a theory? Black holes, solar flares, or new galaxies? Black holes. Which beloved children's book published in 1964 was inspired by Candy Factory tours? Winnie the Pooh, Hansel and Gretel, or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Which small European hatchback introduced in the 70s was known as the Rabbit in the US? Fiat 500, Volkswagen Golf, or the Peugeot 104? The Volkswagen Golf. Which US city built the first drive-through bank in 1946? Philadelphia, Chicago, or Boston? Chicago. Which animal was first cloned as in a successful experiment in 1952? Frog, sheep, or rabbit? Frog. Question 91. Which British doll introduced in 1963 was meant to rival Barbie in popularity? Bindi, Mindy, or Cindy? Cindy. Which 1965 assassination was not fully investigated until decades later? Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., or Medgar Evers? Malcolm X. Which 1980s fashion trend was inspired by breakdancers needing flexible clothing? Dance pants, breeze pants, or parachute pants? Parachute pants. Which 1947 event sparked UFO conspiracy theories after a reported sighting in New Mexico? Montana incident, Roswell incident, or Mount Rainier incident? The Roswell incident. Which 1953 tornado was one of the deadliest in Michigan history, killing over 100 people? The Grand Rapids Beecher tornado, Flint Beecher tornado, or Ann Arbor Beecher tornado? Flint Beecher tornado. Which San Francisco landmark completed in 1972 became one of the city's most recognizable buildings? White Tower, Golden Gate Park, or Transamerica Pyramid? The Transamerica Pyramid. Which 1958 football game, known as the greatest game ever played, introduced sudden death overtime? NFL playoff game, NFL championship game, or NFL Super Bowl game? The NFL championship game. Which 1982 World's Fair focused on energy and technology advancements? Killeen World's Fair, Knoxville World's Fair, or Kansas City World's Fair? Knoxville World's Fair. Which scientific breakthrough in the 50s significantly reduced infection-related deaths? Penicillin, antibiotics, or probiotics? Antibiotics. Which frozen convenience food introduced in 1956 made on-the-go meals more accessible in the US? Microwavable burger, microwavable lasagna, or the microwavable burrito? The microwavable burrito. And our bonus question: which nation state was Albert Einstein offered the presidency of in 1952? Let us know the answer in the comments, as well as how you did with our quiz class Einstein rewards. Thanks for playing this quiz. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.